but it was really, really important to me to admit my mistake. And when you have your incident, share it with us, speak out, because maybe we can not have that mistake and learn from your incident. So if you've had a bad night and you were trying to cross the Gulf over here and you were up all night, maybe consider layover a day. Don't let your buddy boat talk you into going over. And then if you do, get your co-captain up there at the helm with you and help you stay away. But please don't do what I do. That was dumb, and I didn't do it again. I promise I learned. So we'll move on from that. That's enough of that. So what I figured is the world was just in a state of yuck. Still kind of there again. And I wasn't planning for this. We hadn't written a social media strategy or anything. But, man, more people started coming out. And, my team was reporting to me that people were starting to follow along. And I just couldn't imagine, but it was happening. And I think it was joy. I saw the people bringing their kids and they were waving as I'm going by. And I think it was an opportunity to get your kids away from their tablet or their phone and get them out. I can't tell you how many times I saw a mom and dad on the sandbar, and I went by these ones on the Tin-Tom, and it was just so precious. I did a big old heart sign as I went by, and the whole family. It was so good. Okay, this following video is so special to me because it's nothing I took. It was put together by a stranger, and it tells the story of my trip. Hang with me for 4 minutes. Arcadia. Rain was a trooper tail from my boat apartment. hope that inspired you. Well, everyone is looking for something out of their great route. Maybe it's visiting some of the forts along the way, or hitting some of the museums, Civil War places. For me, it was the Statue of Liberty, the Erie Canal, and the Gateway Arch. And I liked them because they were great steps for me around the loop, and it was something it was steps I could look forward to along the way. This is where I think Kim and I started hitting it off. She goes, you really do have a lot in common with our membership. And I had always heard Kim tell the story is make it your own trip. I think now she can say 10 days or 10 years. But and I am so looking forward to following all the people that are in progress or are planning right now that I've met, and I'm going to follow your trips. I'm really looking forward to it because I'm just a consumer of people having fun on the water. I looked at all the looper guides. I pretty much had to memorize them because there wasn't sitting in the salon reading them. I did read this little book, Two on a Trawler with Katie and Gene Hamilton. They did it in 2007. It's a great read or listen. You can pick it up on Audible. They had an incident, and I won't tell you what their incident was, but they overcame the incident, they learned from it, and they shared it with people. I used YouTube like a fiend. I was so scared about the Erie Canal. I was scared about the Okeechobee, and I've spent a lot of time on the Tenn-Tom and the Mississippi and those areas, and just felt real comfortable with there. But YouTube helped me, and I know, have some of y'all looked at YouTube and looking at it? Yeah, it's a good place to see something done that you're planning on doing. And then the Great Loop Cruisers Association. This has been such a vital asset to any looper, including a guy that's trying to do it fast. I've really enjoyed reading and learning and looking at all the resources. I am majoring in safety. I've been through commercial boating. I've done a lot of offshore racing, and I've got a lot of certificates and stuff. I wanted to pad my number of certificates, so I went in and picked up the NASBLA safety certificate that I'm sure a lot of you have. I learned that states like New York, it doesn't matter if you're transient or not, you need that certificate to get through there. So I already had it, but I recommend everyone do that and get as much education as you can. I know y'all have been working with the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, getting your boats inspected. I think that's a wonderful thing. I'm very careful to make sure if I'm pulled over, I'm ready to handle an inspection. But there's also, and this thing is getting along with people. There's one thing that we all have in common. We put out a wake. Our wakes can cause damage. And we want to make sure that we don't have people shaking their fists at us, and that we're getting along. And people tell me, oh, Robert, you're going to go too fast in the Erie Canal, and you're going to upset everyone. And so I was really, really, really concerned about that. So I contacted the head of the organization that monitors and manages the Erie Canal. It's a corporation. It's the Erie Canal Corporation. I talked to their team, talked to the management team. I said, I'm getting these conflicting stories on the Erie Canal and on speeds and how quickly people are getting through there. And I said, I need the real skinny. What's the law? So, we talked about all the speeds that are published and everything. And, but what I found out was, in addition to state statute, there's a notice to mariners about traveling through the New York Canal system. And in that notice to mariners, you'll see up there on the second line, The speeds listed are more of a general guidance, and weight characteristics are what they're going to enforce. Oh man, I shared that with the Great Loop group, and they're like, oh no, they're hard and fast speeds. No, what they realized after they published those speeds is that a 60-ton trawler could do damage at 10 miles per hour. So they put this notice to mariners out and said, in the red zones, the 5 mile per hour zones, I go the same speed you do, slow, and not putting out anything. But in those yellow zones, what they enforce is the 12-inch amplitude of the waveform coming off of your boat, because that's what they feel that you can get by and maybe not damage a floating dock or someone at a fuel dock. Let's be more courteous than that. Let's not put any weight as we go by fuel docks. But since I'm an intense researcher, I said, who does all the enforcement on the Erie Canal? And they told me the New York Park System has a marine enforcement division. So I called them and I talked to an enforcement officer, and he says, yeah, I do our enforcement out of a personal watercraft. And I said, well, how fast do you go in those yellow zones? He said, I run 40, 50 miles an hour. He said, because the faster I go, the less weight I put out. And I can get to an area where there's someone causing problems. And I said, can I go fast? And he goes, yeah, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about those guys that are knocking the canoers over, because there are canoers on the canal, and I slow down and I make sure I'm very cautious with them. Most of the time I go over and talk to them and just say hi. And so think about this. I have a copy of this notice to mariners on the table. I've taped it here, so if you want to take a picture of it, you can. Also on the table, the initial map that I have up there. I have a framed map that I put together for my trip. I put a circle every place I camped and a triangle every place I got fuel. And then a number of people have said they like this shirt. They reached out to me, it's Top Deck Gear. I put some stickers from them and a card for their business, and they gave me something to give to y'all. So if you would like to get a shirt with a loop, or for your home area, they cover every state and almost every harbor. They make a map for like this. And you can just put in Ageless Wanderer 15, and you'll get a 15% discount on your purchase. So they help you. And help you. So that's pretty intimidating looking, isn't it? Yeah, but I'm not doing it in November and December and January and when y'all guys were thinking about doing it. I was doing that in the summer, and I'm from the Gulf Coast, so I know that in the summer are the calmest periods to get across the Gulf of Mexico. So I wasn't worried about the Gulf of Mexico. I was worried about Lake Michigan. So there are some commercial guides for commercial pilots where they can look up the calmest periods in any ocean waterway in the world. And that was shared to me by the Coast Guard, and I looked it up. And the calmest 2 weeks on Lake Michigan are the second and third week of July. So I started planning my trip so I could get there during that period. And it worked out with my Gulf crossing. So I left out of there, did a straight run, and got in about 1 in the morning to Fort Myers. My co-captain for the next trip, Steve Herndon, gave me some instructions so I could avoid the manatee zones, because I want to be, comfortable about all the environmental concerns. And so I camped there for a few hours, and then by I think 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was sitting in Stewart getting fuel. It was a pretty quick crossing. I got to the first lock, and the magic, it was like dust was being sprinkled on me. I got to the first lock there at Federal Lock, and the lockmaster goes, why you got all those fuel tanks in there? I said, well, because I'm doing the Great Loop. She goes, well, how do you have a cooler in there? Where do you keep your drinks? I said, no, I don't have a cooler because I'm trying to go light. She goes, would you like a Coca-Cola? And I said, yes, ma'am, I like a Coca-Cola. She said, would you like a popsicle? I said, yeah, man, I'd like a popsicle. She said, would you like me to call all the locks ahead of you and give them your tracker and be open when you get there? And I said, yes, ma'am. So it was so cool. I got to a lot of those locks and the green light was on and the doors were open as I was pulling up. So I did get some help. I think some of y'all were praying for me and that might have helped too. But the stars were lining up for me. During that trip, I respect what I'm getting into. I've done lots of ocean crossings. I've been unfortunate enough to get caught in 2 hurricanes. I've gone through a class 2 in a race, and we were in a 473 Beneteau, and we were burying it. I mean, all the way. And but because I was with a good team and well prepared, I felt confident, and I was having a good time, believe it or not. But I wear a life jacket all the time. I think in every photo you saw, I'm wearing a life jacket. I believe in life jackets. In that life jacket is a PLB. Do y'all know what PLBs are? Okay. They are a device that will send a signal to a rescue set of satellites. It gets to the guys that know how to do rescues. It also sends out a simultaneous signal that helicopter rescues can pick up. They can hone in on you even during a fog. The only negative to this device is that it's not two-way communication. So when they come for you, they're coming with everything as fast as they can. But that's in my life jacket. The next thing I carry is this Garmin inReach, because I may lose a motor, which I've never done, I hope I never do, and I need help, but I don't need all the forces coming at once, and I don't want to drag all those forces in. I can send a rescue message out. I can tell them, I broke my leg, my motor won't run, whatever. So the response can be proportionate to the problem. So I'm a big believer in the inReach. They sell, I think it's like $40. It's a $100,000 rescue policy. And I buy that. And they won't rescue your boat, but if you break your leg, you're offshore, they'll come out and get you. And a $100,000 policy covers you. I've had 2 friends that have had to use it, and Garmin paid for it. So it works. And then the other thing it does is it's a great tracker. I know y'all love Devo because it's such it's a community thing where y'all can visit with each other. But when I was in the Arctic, these are on the Iridium satellites, and they work everywhere. Like Spot and some of the other ones, they use what's it called, Geostar, I think, Global Star. And they just kind of cover a band of areas. So if you're going to be traveling worldwide, the Iridium's going to work everywhere. Funny story. My team were my safety net, and they were following just as a lot of you were following, but there were periods where they couldn't get to see me for like 40 minutes. One time, almost 2 hours. I called Garmin and I said, what was going on? People couldn't follow me on the tracker. They said, Mr. Urick, you shut down Iridium. I said, I shut down Iridium. They said, we had over 7 million views as you were coming into the finish in one afternoon. And it might have been 10 million if their system hadn't closed down. The other thing I carry is a VHF radio, and it's on the corner of my life jacket right here. My good ear is my right ear. And I feel really good about that, because if I am, I'm dead in the water, I'm offshore, and a boat comes by, I can call them. And that means a lot to me. And I'm going to tell you just a really quick story here. We do, a lot of the Texans, and people come from all around the world to crew on this. We do a race from Galveston to Veracruz. And there was a team from Texas A&M, and but they were from the Galveston Marine School, and they had 2 instructors and 4 students on the boat. And they use this for training sailors out in the bay, and it's run aground often. and it had been repaired before. And they were about 250 miles offshore, and all of a sudden, their tractor went away. No perp was just went off. They called all the boats that were in the race and said, please be looking out for this team. We've lost contact with them. And we were way out ahead of them. We were lead boat. But a lot of the teams in the area that were coming by altered their course to come by the coordinates where they were last seen. And they finally dispatched a helicopter out. This was people that are trained in marine science. There was no evidence, no boat, no oil slick, no people. And they finally, the helicopter did a recon around there. Where they sunk, they were in a very high circular current in the Gulf of Mexico, and they had drifted hundreds of miles. By the time they got the search planes out, these guys weren't anywhere in the area. Did any of them have a PLB on? No. If they would have, that helicopter would have picked them up. So I am a big believer. They were rescued after 3.5 days. And so I am a huge believer. If you're going to go outside the boat, and my belief is everyone that's offshore should have a PLB on them. Because if your boat goes down, you don't want it to be the end of your trip or the end of your life. So everyone's going to do it in a different way. I've looked at big boats, 60-footers, and I've looked at little homemade boats out there, and we're all going to have our trip. It's all going to be our own trip, as Tim says. And I hope you get to the finish line and cross your way, because when I did, it was incredibly special. And there were some loopers there that didn't know me, and they brought champagne, and Tohatsu's executive staff were there, well-built. People called my wife, and they brought her in, and my family, and they loaded them all up on a big fast boat, a big yacht. And so Deborah got to follow me. I didn't even know she was there, from Gulfport all the way to Pensacola. And it was a pretty special night. Here's my end of my trip. Does everyone here have a dream that's so big you don't think you'll ever accomplish it? You need to think of one if you don't have it. And guess what these guys do? They have one called a great loop. It is, I just did it. It's because it can. And a John does. So hey guys. Y'all are gonna accomplish it. And you can see that notice to mariners, and y'all have the great rest of the run.
Robert, well done. I'm going to ask you not to come up to the desk just yet, because we've got more programs to go.